welcome to part 2. Hi guys, it's me, Soph. Yeah, so if you're watching this right where you left off from part 1, you should be good. Great, bye. It is the next day, clearly. Well, not really actually clearly. So, I was gathering the skirt. Little did I know that gathering a skirt, at least a skirt this long, is very, very much of a pain. Anyways, I'm spreading out the gathers a little bit more. I did a method, not the tradition, I didn't do, well actually, story time, not really. I started off with the traditional method, which is you sew 3 lines, and then with like no backstitch on either side, and you gather. But all 3 of my threads kept breaking. Like at first it was just 1 thread breaking, and I was like, okay, that's fine, I have 2 backup threads. But then those other 2 kept breaking. So I tried again. I unstitched the 3 lines, and I restitched the 3 lines, and I tried to gather again. They broke again. And then I tried one last time, and I was like, okay, 3rd time's the charm. I need to get this. But the 3 threads broke again. So I looked up another video. I just looked up how to gather fabric, and I found this lady. She was kind of annoying, but she had a different method to gather fabric. And guess what? It worked. So I'm gonna link below the annoying lady. I still need to like evenly spread these gathers because they're not very evenly spread. So now we can move on from the skirt because we need to go back to the bodice. We need to do the straps, but I was actually thinking, you know, it's perfectly normal for people to talk about this. Anyways, around the boobage area, the breast area, the cleavage area, the chest, if you say. Around that area, I was like, because the thing is, strapless bras are uncomfortable. I don't know, maybe it's me, maybe I haven't found the right strapless bra, but to me, they're very uncomfortable and I hate wearing them. And if this has little spaghetti straps that tie up here, you will need to wear a strapless bra to wear this dress. So then, you know, I'm making the dress so I could fix that problem. So I got an old swimsuit, and I took out the padding inside. And now this padding is gonna be used for the dress. So here I have my bodice. This is the inside. Let's turn this inside out. And I'm gonna be sewing this onto the lining because if I sew around this on the outside fabric, you will be able to see nice little circles. We don't need that. I'm getting confused with my own like ideas there. So the little curved part goes at the top. And I'm just gonna sew. Obviously I'm gonna be putting the sewing machine in, pinning this all in, and I'm gonna sew around the, do not know, this is gonna be awkward to edit. So I'm gonna sew in the boob padding, whatever you wanna call it. Awesome, great. That wasn't awkward at all. This is obviously, I don't mention this, but this is a completely optional step. I'm showing you how to do it just in case you want to do it too. Okay, I am back and I have sewn in the padding. Okay, just one little problem though. I've sewn it in. You can see pretty clearly there, at least I hope you can, that one of them is a little bit higher than the other. I don't think this affects the overall look, but it should be fine. Now we're gonna do the straps. So I'm gonna be making 4 straps in total because it's 2 at the front and 2 at the back, and then they tie at the top. So I am now going to cut out the fabric. Now for the straps, you do not need a lining fabric. You just need the outside fabric because that's all you will see. As you heard, 2.5 centimeters. And then I really hope you guys know how to sew straps, but if you don't, you basically right sides together, sew a straight line, and then turn it inside out, and you end up with a tube. I'm gonna cut out the fabric and I'll get back to you. I have cut out my straps now. I thought about it, and if I did 2.5 centimeter by 42 or whatever the paper says, that would be so difficult to turn inside out. So I ended up with 4 5 by 37 strips. I'm gonna explain this to you guys because just in case you don't know how to sew straps, I have my fabric. This is the right side. This is the wrong side. I do not know if you can actually tell. There it is. So right side, I'm gonna fold it so that you end up with ugly side out. I think that's the best way. So you're gonna fold it and you end up with like this skinny tube. Then you sew a straight line along and then you turn it back out and you end up with a pretty tube. So you just do that to all 4 and then I'll meet back with you. Okay, I have finally finished the straps. That took longer than expected. It's now nighttime, that's why the lighting is disgusting. So I think what I'm gonna do is iron these down. Okay, there's a close-up of one of the straps. So as you can see, it's a very little thin tube right now. On one of the sides, this side, yeah. It's a little bit messy because really there's no easy way to sew on something so small. But on one side, what I did was tuck in. So you can imagine like there's the tube and then you can tuck in one of the edges. And then I sewed straight down. So that's what that seam is. As for this random line in the middle, it's not super visible because the thread is coordinating, but I just sewed a line down the middle which helps keep it flat. Now in addition to keeping it flat, I'm gonna iron it down so it looks nicer. But yeah, I have 4 of those, all somewhat the same length, and there's one of the sides on all of them that is sewn down. And my sewing down is not very nice. It's like, yeah, no, because it's difficult. When I finish ironing these, I'll get back to you. Now that I have ironed down all 4 of the straps right here, what I'm going to do is insert them. So I'm guessing you could leave the straps as one of the last steps, but I prefer to have it sewn into these holes. If you didn't make holes, you could always seam rip, don't worry. We have our hole. The bodice is inside out. This is my sealed part that's gonna go down because what I'm gonna sew down is the non-sealed part. But basically this strap is just gonna be lined up here with this seam and sandwiched in to this seam. And I'm just gonna pin that right down. Do the exact same on the other. Okay, now that I have my 4 straps placed in, I could turn it inside out and try it on, but I'm gonna risk it and sew them on and then see. So, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, I have sewn down the straps. It's back like right side out. I even like measured it on my sister. My sister is basically my mannequin at this point, but so yes, I have the 4 straps. I'm really liking how it looks. It's finally coming together. Now to sew onto the skirt. Now I have my zipper here. This isn't the part we're doing yet. It's a 30 centimeter zipper. Now the zipper is gonna start obviously up here, and it's gonna go down a few centimeters to the skirt. But before we put on the zipper, we're gonna attach the skirt. And this part is gonna be a little bit more complicated. I'm doing this on the floor because I think it's easier if you have more space to do this part. I'm gonna start by laying down my bodice. As you can see, here is my skirt. Now what you want, I gathered it up like eyeballing how long I want it to be, like waist-wise, but you really want to gather it up until it fits your bodice. I'm gonna adjust my gathers just a little bit more so they're more even. What you're gonna do is right sides together, so this side and this side, bodice going down. You're just gonna sew a seam from one side to the other, and that's it. It's pretty simple. The only difficult part is having the gathers like lay flat and nicely, making sure that they don't get tangled in the sewing machine or anything. I've now started pinning down. By started, I literally mean I placed 1 pin down. So I'll get back to you when I've pinned down the skirt. Okie dokes, guys! It's coming together! I didn't really think, well actually, okay, I did think we'd get this far, but you know, it's good! It actually looks like a dress. Like, I made a pretty big mistake while stitching the bodice and skirt together, but it's not too visible. As for the inside, you can totally see what I did. So basically, when I was stitching the bodice and skirt together, I didn't notice, I was like super concentrated on getting to the end and everything. I didn't notice that underneath the bodice was like completely folding. So as I was stitching, the bodice was getting caught up. That's why if I open it up to the inside, okay, it's kind of visible there. It's like this diagonal line from here to here around there. So, where we stitched the two together, we're gonna cut and then zigzag. Or if you have a serger or anything, just basically so it doesn't start fraying on the inside. So that's one thing we need to do. The next is sew on the zipper. But first, I'm gonna sew up that raw edge. So I'll see you guys after for the zipper sewing. Okay, I am done with sewing the zigzag stitch on that seam connecting the bodice and the skirt. Now to connect the zipper. The zipper is more complicated. I should have brought my pins with me. Oh my goodness. Now I think now I get why on like the sewing shows and stuff they have that bracelet with the pins, but I will be back with my pins then. Okay, my pins. What we're gonna do now is add the zipper. This shouldn't be too difficult, but then again I might be jinxing that part. Here I have one side. The thing with a dress is that it goes outwards, like it's a triangle of some sort. So I have my scissors here because this raw edge can be cut down to be straighter, I think. So I think that's what I'm gonna start with. Now for the zipper, I'm gonna open it because I think that might be easier. I left this room for error. It was like the extra square that I left room for error. So I've measured this dress. It's supposed to stop somewhere along here. So about there. So with the help of my ruler, I'm gonna measure down. Not really measure, but just draw a line here. And then I have to cut down the skirt as well. In the end, you're gonna end up with something like this. What I don't want is really this raw edge. So I might hem this raw edge with a little zigzag before I continue. But in general, you're gonna take your zipper and here's the right side and here's the right side of the zipper facing up, basically. And right there where it meets with the stopper, the zipper stopper, you're just gonna pin all the way down and then sew this straight line. It might be helpful to use a zipper foot, but basically once it's done, you end up with something like this, which just means the raw edge is hidden and your zipper looks really nice like that. And as for the other side, you basically do the same thing, but the opposite. So cut down this raw edge up to where you want your measurement. Zipper facing up, fabric facing down, and you just line those up. Again, sew this raw edge if you want to before you sew the zipper down. And then you're gonna end up with a nice, pretty zipper sewn on. Okay, so I am back and this is my ironing board. What I've done now is just done a zigzag stitch straight down the edge. So I've made markings where I want my zipper to like be, as in where the dress fits well. So what I'm going to do, I have my iron and I'm going to iron down at those markings. I'm doing this before I place the zipper because my zipper is made of plastic and I'm scared if I iron over the zipper it will melt. So it doesn't have to be super accurate, it's just so the fabric lays flat. And then for the rest of the dress, I think it's easiest to just follow that fold. Now the placement of the zipper. Obviously you want to do this on both sides. You want your zipper to end up here, so, like this, on both sides. So up here you can see that's how you want it to be. So it's a little bit more complicated. You just want to make sure that the top of the zipper, it might help to open the zipper at this point. You want to make sure that the top of the zipper is aligned with the top of the fabric. That's important. And then pin that down. I have pinned down one of the sides to the zipper. It's not too difficult. I think it's more the actual sewing that's going to be more challenging. But as long as you don't sew super close to the zipper, you should be fine. Now I just have to pin the other side down. My sewing of the zipper may not actually be super straight. As long as you can open and close it, you should be fine. Now let's go over to the sewing machine. Okay, so here we are at my sewing machine. I finally found a good place to put my counts. If you haven't noticed, that is a normal foot on my machine. So I'm gonna look for the zipper foot now. Now that I've changed the foot of my machine, we're gonna be starting with one of the sides of the zipper. Okay, now the zipper foot is just allowing us to get a little bit closer to our zipper. Now here it's important to keep your stitch straight as it can be, at least, because, well, you're gonna see it, so. And important to backstitch if you want your dress to be washable, which I really hope you do. So here we go. Here you can see, got that stitch. It's actually really crooked. We're gonna do the exact same thing on this side. So here you wanna just check your zipper works. Okay, you can, if you notice here, my stitching, especially here where the bodice and skirt meet, it's not exactly super straight. It's okay though, it should be fine as long as the zipper works, which it does, very nice and smoothly. As for how the inside looks, that's what it's looking like. I'm probably gonna cut this and zigzag a little bit closer to the zipper, but for now, everything works. Next step is gonna be just to sew down the rest from the zipper down and hem the bottom. Okie dokes! Oh my goodness, I look like a mess. I am pinning down right now the part you want to sew together. I'm probably not doing this right, hold up. Here, I can see clearly where the zipper was sewn. There's like that seam right there. Now what I'm gonna do for the rest of the dress is basically doing right sides together, and I'm gonna sew a straight seam down. So I've got a ruler. Here I have my zipper seam. So I'm just gonna pin down this line and then sew down this line. But before I do that, I'm simply just going to, I am gonna start with the lining fabric actually. And all you wanna do is fold twice in, that's how you hem, just to avoid any fraying, and then sew down. So I'm gonna do that all around for both the lining and the outside fabric separately. And then I will join the fabrics up. Okay, I've now hemmed down both the lining and the outside fabric. Now we have to sew both pieces together. We've got that line from when we put the zipper on. You just want to roughly follow that line down to the bottom. It's just going to give a good idea of where you should sew. Okay, so I don't know what point I left this off at, honestly, but I've been at the same problem for a little while now, which is the zipper. I looked over a few more videos on how to actually put in a zipper on a dress. Turns out I did it wrong. So if I do a close-up on what I've actually done, it's all wrong. But you're basically supposed to sew from the bottom up first before you put in the zipper, up to the point where your zipper ends. And then you insert your zipper because there's a nice little opening for that end of your zipper. So I'm gonna have to unstitch a little bit and insert the zipper nicely, because if you don't insert the zipper correctly, you're gonna end up with this like random bump on the back, which no one wants. I will be back with the actual finished dress. For now, I'm gonna fix the zipper, so. Guess it's finished, finally. Oh my goodness, this took way too long. Okay, so you're realizing probably by now that this is a half tutorial, half let's see how this goes. But I'm now finished with the dress. It looks really good. I am very proud of it. Now, for the zipper, I'm gonna try to show you as best as I can. So basically you have to sew all around, which somewhat turned out. I also realized that the color white for a zipper does make it stand out a little bit more. I will insert a clip of my sister wearing this dress. On the inside, you can clearly see how badly I messed up the sewing of the zipper. Like, what kind of crooked sewing is this? Like, no. But that's okay, you don't really see it. This is why we use coordinating thread. Can we talk about the fact that I didn't line up the bodice well? Like, what is that? It's fine, no one notices that bad. Thank you guys for joining me on this sewing journey of making a dress, because I've never done that before. So if you guys like to see these sewing videos, that's great. Comment down below and like this video. Anyways, yes, I made a dress. That's cool. Woo! I will see you next time whenever I decide to upload another video. So thanks for watching.